So I have to re-say everything that I was just about to say. I mean, everything that I just said, excuse me. I got a call in the middle of me recording, so now I got to start all over again. I was talking about spiritual warfare and how, at least for me, but I know it's not just me, so I'm going to say so, but at least for myself, for a while, I felt like when I didn't, for a long time, I didn't consider myself a Christian, but I also didn't consider myself anything. I was just like, whatever. And then after a while, my ancestors kind of pulled me in, and that's been a thing for me, like just, saying that I'm just going to honor my ancestors and just cool it, meditate and stuff like that. And then, slowly but surely, I have drifted towards other deities and ideologies and things like that. And all along, I have all but thrown out Christian modalities and the teachings and all this other kind of stuff. And lately, I have realized that it's hot in here. Lately, I put on this extra shirt because I was so freezing in here, and now freezing at work. Excuse me, and now I'm not at work yet, so I'm just cold hot in here. But that's beyond the point. I had all but thrown out these ideologies, you know what I mean? About things that I learned and things that I knew as far as prayer, as far as spirit, and things like that. And so what I want to get to is a story. I'll tell you a story about a time that I was experiencing spiritual warfare and the power of prayer, and I suppose intercessory prayer. It's relating to the other video that I just did. So I went to college for a year, and across the hall from me, I was on the international floor, and across the hall from me, there was a girl from Morocco, and she was Muslim, and she's, very sweet, very kind girl. And she asked me to pray for her one day, and I said, sure. And I just, said some little generic prayer. And then as time went on and we got closer, she started to tell me that people were following her, that somebody was doing stuff against her, that she was afraid that they were trying to, that they were planning to attack her, that she didn't know what was going on. And at first I thought she was a little bit crazy. And, why would you think somebody's following you? Like, this is a campus, it's not your house. You know what I mean? Like, I'm thinking that it's all in her head. And she actually ended up showing me proof, because she showed me a picture of her. She said that she was in the lab, like, and what she did, she was still doing that, being in the lab late and stuff till like 7 or 8 and things like that. And she proved that this person was following her because they posted her picture on the school website without her permission or anything. Like, they never asked her, and she was like, I was not looking at the camera, in case you noticed, because they never asked me. Like, they were just following me, just sneaking around doing stuff. And she's like, I literally just looked on the school website and saw my own picture. I wasn't aware that there was even anyone in the room with me. And she's like, but somebody keeps following me on this campus and all this other kind of stuff. And she's like, I don't know what it is they're planning, but I don't feel safe. And that really struck me when she said, that she didn't feel safe. And I thought, oh, something's like really wrong. And she's like, something is going on, and I hope you believe me, and I hope you really, really pray with me this time. Like, I need real help. Like, God has to stop them from whatever it is they're planning against me. And I think in her mind, she was afraid of being raped. Of course, culturally, it's not good for anyone, but for herself as a Muslim, she was, very devout, and she didn't wear a hijab or anything, but she was still, firm on the fact that she wasn't going to have sex until she was married. And she said that her first year, like, after she, got a grasp on English and stuff, that certain guys kept trying to talk to her, and when she told them no, they started kind of bullying her. So I think that her fear was that, damn it, move. That made me run this halfway red light. I had time for this. I'm like 20 minutes away. I don't know, I might be 30 minutes away from work at this point. I did not leave early enough. Well, I had stopped for gas, so that made me later. But I don't like getting gas in the dark. But anyway, she didn't feel safe, and so I was like, yeah, I will. And for some reason, I usually just say I'll get in the bed and say my prayers and go to sleep. And for some reason, I got down on my knees and I prayed for her. For, I don't know, it maybe went on for about 15, 20 minutes or something like that. Like, it was really heavy on me, and I prayed until I felt like it had lifted up. And the strange thing was, why didn't you freaking move in? You had more than enough room. I be getting irritated when I be leaving. It's my fault. Should have left a little bit earlier to get some gas. Anyway, I went to sleep. I prayed for her hard. I went to sleep. When all of a sudden I woke up, it was either 2 or 3 in the morning, probably 3. And something in my spirit was like, pray now, but do not turn around. And I always sleep towards the wall. It doesn't matter what side of the room the bed is on or anything like that. I always face the wall when I sleep. And I was facing the wall because that's how I sleep. But something kept telling me not to turn around. And there was this burning feeling on my back. And I knew that I was in the presence of something not human. I knew there was something not human behind me. Let's just put it that way. And there was this crazy heat coming from the interaction between these two entities. And I could feel that she was praying in her own room. We did not share a room. Her roommate wasn't there, but I could feel that she was praying while I was praying. And I just kept praying, and I kept sweating, and because it was so hot, like I felt the heat from these particular entities fighting each other. I could hear them fighting each other, almost like metal, like as if they were sword fighting or some shit like that. And it was like I was seeing it with a spiritual eye, but not seeing it with my physical eyes, because my physical eyes were faced towards this wall. But the entire time I could feel the heat. I could feel the energy, like making impressions behind me. I don't know how else to explain it. It was just unreal, and all I could do was just keep praying. And I kept praying, and I kept praying, and I kept praying, and I started to quote scriptures. And I don't know where them scriptures came from, because I didn't even have all of them memorized. But I just started to speak the word over the situation and declare that she was safe, that whatever was attacking her was going to lose. And I continued to quote these scriptures and keep praying, and it must have went on for freaking forever. And I remember at some point in time, like all of a sudden feeling loose. And when I got up, my bed was wet. I didn't pee myself. It was that much sweat, and I don't even sweat. Like, I would be in the gym for forever and I don't sweat. Working hard. It takes a lot. Let me just say, it takes a lot for me to sweat. A whole lot. And I remember getting up and going down the hall and feeling like as if there was this dark presence in the hallway. And I was like, oh, fuck you. This ain't no Emily Rose stuff. Like, that's what I was thinking. It really seemed like Emily Rose. And I was like, I'm going back in this room. I don't have to pee. Changed my mind. And I went back in there, and I just started praying again. And I was praying for whatever the hell was in that hallway to be gone. And then I was just like, okay, I'm going to sleep. And it was like maybe a couple hours later, my alarm went off. It was time to go to class. And I was feeling weird, and I didn't. The crazy thing is, I didn't see her because she left when I was still sleeping, when I went back to sleep. And I remember I was supposed to go to a class, and I kept saying I felt terrible. And one of my friends was like, ooh, she was like, oh, are you sick or something? And I was like, I don't know, I just feel really, really weak. And I was like, my head hurts. And she's like, maybe you should get something to eat. And at that point in time, I had already gained the freshman 15 in the first semester. So I was just like, nah, I'm not going to eat a whole lot of stuff. And I was like, I'm just going to have a yogurt or something like that and some juice. And I was like, maybe my sugar's low. And she's like, yeah, maybe that's what it is. And so that's what I did. I ate some yogurt and a juice. And as we were walking out the cafeteria, it was like, I couldn't stand, like my legs were wobbling and I was holding on to the bar. And she's like, let's just go to the nurse. And she walked me to the front door of the nurse's office and left. And I was standing in line because there was somebody else signing in while I was standing there. And while I was standing there, I just felt myself like as if somebody stuck a straw in my neck and sucked the literal energy out, the rest of the remaining energy out of my body. And I fell to the floor. And the thing is, when I woke up, I wasn't actually awoke. Like I didn't have the strength to open my eyes and to function, but I could hear. Shit. They sent me to the hospital and stuff. And yeah, they sent me to the hospital and stuff, and I could hear people moving around me, but I could not come to. Like I couldn't get back. It was almost, I want to use the expression that I couldn't get back in my body, because that's what it felt like. And so I don't know how long it was between the time of me realizing at first that I couldn't get back in, and then I'm hearing everything around me but unable to move, unable to do anything. I felt paralyzed. I couldn't answer anybody that was talking to me. One of the nurses was trying to talk to me and I couldn't answer them. And I just did not know what the hell had happened or what was going on. Get out of the way. Thank you. And all of a sudden my mom got there, because I guess she was like the emergency contact or whatever. And my mom was praying. Like she told me she was praying for the moment that they called her at school, because she didn't know what was wrong. And the moment that she just came up behind me, and this is crazy because y'all know I don't even have a good relationship with my mom, but she was praying. And she was like, in the name of Jesus, get up or wake up and open your eyes and talk to me. And it was weird. Like all of a sudden, my eyes opened. I couldn't see. Everything was real blurry. I don't know why. I couldn't see clearly, but I was aware that I was looking at her. And she was like, don't give in to whatever it is that you're experiencing. Come back. And it was like when she said that, all of a sudden, I started to feel strength. And the nurse was like, huh. And she's like, honey, we drew your blood and stuff when you was out and not answering us and stuff like that. And she's like, and I mean, you're dehydrated. And she's like, but I don't see a reason for you not to be able to do anything like you, like, she's like, I don't see, like real scientific proof for why you were like that. And she was like, you just seemed like you were paralyzed. And I was like, I could hear you, but I couldn't do anything. And she almost was like, well, why didn't you say so? Which is really funny. But obviously I couldn't. But yeah. So I got my electric lights back in me and all of that kind of stuff. And my mom prayed with me, and my grandmom came, and my grandma prayed with me. And she kept saying that she was praying to protect the shield over me, that nothing would harm me, and that nothing would harm my friend. And the funny thing is, I never mentioned a friend. And I never mentioned it at all. And my grandma literally said that. She's like, you and your friend are going to be fine. And she's like, there's angels coming to protect you, each and every one of you. Or something like that she said. And when I got back to the dorms, I saw her. She's like, oh, finally you're home. She heard me opening my door, and she's like, finally you're back. And she's like, I just wanted to tell you that thank you for praying for me. she's like, I had the most incredible day. And she's like, I can't even, and she's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, nothing. Like, it's funny, like, I was just like, what the hell just happened? What just happened? Like, she just literally just beaming, smiling, and happy and everything. And she, you know, was talking about how the person wasn't behind her, they weren't messing with her today in class, that heavy feeling that she had, like this lurking feeling that she had, that something was on her shoulder all the time, was gone. And she's like, I just wanted to thank you so much for praying for me and all this other stuff. And what I didn't understand is the transference of energy and the power of prayer. And what I literally did was transfer what she was feeling from what she was feeling and what she was experiencing, or whatever was attacking her just began to attack me instead. But I was able to handle it in my own way, right? I say all of that to say that there's nothing different. There's nothing changed. When you are experiencing, just because you're not in Christianity, there's certain things that I don't believe are real, like the devil and stuff like that. I think that people make that up to explain things, but it's not necessarily a truth. But as far as right and wrong, good and evil, and that type of thing, there's some truth to that. And there are entities on this planet that are not for our well-being. And there's entities that are not from this planet that are for our well-being. And that being said, we should never stop praying. Intercessory prayer should be something that continues to exist. And at this point in time, we really need, like, I want to say worldwide, but I always feel like, not that they're not effective. Let me say that the right way. Not that worldwide prayers aren't effective, but they're not necessarily effective for your nation. There's a lot of things going on a political level that are affecting everyday citizens. And we devalue prayer. So many of us have, like, I think the numbers in the church is like 30 or 40% decrease in people who actually attend church and stuff. So that says a lot, because if everyone feels like I felt, that I don't need to pray at all, imagine how much further things have advanced on the opposite side. Like, imagine that. Okay, so I might end up being like 10 minutes late. That's not too bad. It's just been heavy on my heart to pray again, to have intercessory prayer, to intercede in the things that are going on in this world. That power, like, if the power of life and tongue are in your death, and if all of us would speak on one accord and pray against the things that are happening right now that shouldn't be happening, the division, the programming that's being done to us, we can overcome it. Not just with prayer alone, obviously, but it's an important part of it. It's a very important part of it. But something's got to give. Something has got to give. We're about to go through a big ass shift, and I just want it to be a shift in the right direction, because all of that 5D earth shifting and also the kind of stuff, and yes, the earth is fighting back in its own way, but there's still life for human beings. In other words, we can go in a way that we live in harmony with the planet, or we can go in a way that destroys a lot of humanity but increases harmony for the planet itself. There's two sides to the same coin, I suppose, but either way, we're moving forward. That's all I have to say about that. I sound like Forrest Gump. But please pray. I'm really considering hosting an intercessory prayer. I'm considering it. If you're interested, let me know.